6 o'clock. I'll call this meeting of the Village Board of Trustees to order. Will you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you all very much. We have one mayoral appointment that I will let our clerk handle tonight since Scott is absent.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolved, the mayor appoints and requests a motion for the Board of Trustees to approve the following board appointment. Planning Commission, Nicholas Grebus, alternate member with a term ending June 30th, 2026.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And when we have alternate members, they can only be appointed for the year in which we are operating, and so that's why it's sort of a short term. But he seems like a very capable guy, and we look forward to having him.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Would you like to say anything?
Oh, thank you.
Okay. I'm glad you're here. Thank you, Nick, for being here. All right, then we'll go to board presentations, and we will start with the Peconic Baykeeper, Pete Topping. So, do you have something you want to?
I did, but I don't know if it may not have come through, which is not a big.
Well, if you could come sit here and use the microphone so that everyone at home can hear you. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, don't worry about the presentation if it's not up. I think I've met all of you before, but I'm Pete Topping. I'm the executive director and baykeeper of Peconic Baykeeper. So we're an environmental nonprofit that works on water quality and aquatic habitat restoration throughout the East End. And I came before the board last year, I believe it was most of you, one or two new faces, to request permission to do a cleanup, an Earth Day sort of themed cleanup on Meadow Lane in Southampton. Peconic Baykeeper, we're actually one of the site co-coordinators for the Meadow Lane horseshoe crab monitoring work. I believe the board approved. Yeah, so thank you for that. And I work with the South Shore Estuary Reserve on that. And when we walk along these marshes, what we see is during the wintertime, we get lots of debris, dock foam, dock debris, cans, you name it. And we really expect a lot this year, unfortunately, because of all the ice damage. If you've been out and about, there's going to be a lot when this thaws. So, one of the reasons why we wanted to do this cleanup. Oh, great. All right, next. Now. All right, next, please. So this is actually a photo, and I love when people come out and see this. We have nights when we have well over 1,000 horseshoe crabs that come up and spawn right opposite the Dune Beach parking lot, right on the bay side. So we do counts around the full and new moons from May through June. Next. And of course, we have a lot of wildlife too. We have egrets and other birds. Also, diamondback terrapins that nest along that stretch as well. Next, please. All right. So, couple benefits. Obviously, environmental awareness, protection of habitat. The village does an amazing job of keeping our ocean beaches clean. I know because I go to the beach a lot. But our marshes are often out of sight, out of mind. As soon as those grasses grow in, people don't want to go anywhere near them. So what we like to do is target these areas before everything grows in. Early spring is an ideal time. And again, I think this year is going to be, we're going to see some fairly large bits of debris along our shorelines. Next, please. So our cleanup base will be the same as last year. We staged out of the Dune Beach parking area on the bay side. We actually had Maggio Environmental donated a 10-yard dumpster for us to use last year, and they agreed to do that as well. We had Golden Pear donated some coffee, so if it's a chilly morning. So we're kind of targeting that immediate area. And then next slide, please. Oh, this didn't come through. We can skip to the next. I also had a map made up last year of other access points along Meadow Lane, and we had a couple people go off to Shinnecock Inlet down by the boardwalk that goes down by Munns Point and a few other locations. So these are just a couple examples of things I found last year. I didn't get out this year because everything's covered in ice and snow. And next, back one. So last year, again, we were expecting like a 5-yard dumpster. Maggio said, you know what, we're going to bring a 10 just in case. And in a little bit over 2 hours, we pretty much filled that whole thing, and there was still more debris out there. I know the mayor was there, and I know you were amazed at what we found. We found full gas cans, tarps, signs, all sorts.
It was all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
All sorts of stuff. So please come. You never know what you might find. So next, please. And so really what we're asking for with the village is, one, it's village property, so we're requesting permission. I know parking waivers weren't really an issue because of the timing. We're proposing April 18th with a rain date at the 19th, so right before Earth Day. We want to have a dumpster dropped off on site, so they're going to drop it off probably Friday or Saturday morning, and they pick it up on Monday. And of course, to help promote the event and help join. We worked last year with the trustees, South Shore Estuary Reserve, legislator Ann Welker, and we're hoping to get some other folks as well. So next, I think, last but not least, if you have any questions other than where you can sign up, that'd be great.
How solid is it? Do you need to wear like hip boots or?
So that's a really good question. It can get a little boggy at times, but usually work boots. We recommend that people bring rain boots. Not hip boots aren't necessarily necessary, but anything you wear that might get a little bit wet. And we do have gloves and trash pickers, and we use buckets as much as possible too to reduce the plastic waste.
Yeah. And James Duryea participates.
And James Duryea from the trustees participates.
Yep.
Ann Welker showed up last year in high heels because she had to go somewhere else. But come as you are. There's no dress code, but we just need.
Pete, I think this sounds amazing. Should we be, either we or in conjunction with you, be thinking about doing something like this in Taylor and Haiti Creeks and off of the park at the end of Captain's Neck and in the boat access areas?
Yes, so I haven't scoped those out quite yet. I'm, again, expecting any area with docks to have quite a bit of debris. The idea with this is to have one central location with a large dumpster, and if people want to go down Boatman's or Petty Creek and go around the surrounding areas, or even take a drive along the ocean beach, it's really just fill the dumpster.
Yeah, I think we're going to approve this later, but I was going to. Nancy Kane is here, so we could obviously promote this.
Yeah.
And see if we can get even more people to show up.
Yeah, last year.
We had a pretty good turning out.
Yeah, what did I think I missed it. We had, I think, 37 people and close to a ton of debris that we pulled out of there. So we were pretty.
Yeah, no, it was amazing.
Pretty blown away.
Yeah.
So.
Because you don't know there's that much down there until you're down there.
Yeah. As I am when I'm counting horseshoe crabs.
Yeah. Anyway, any other questions for Pete from the board?
Did you say 1,000 horseshoe crabs on that little?
Yeah, sometimes I think our record a few years ago was close to 2,000 on some of the peak nights.
That's amazing.
Wow.
And I'm happy to let you know by email when that's occurring. It's you can just kind of show up and check it out.
Yeah. Do the car headlights and things bother them?
No, not really.
No? Okay.
They just come up right on the beach.
Make sure that we don't disrupt them.
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you very much, Pete. Appreciate
All right.
it.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Julie, I know you said that the auditors were on a time limit. Were they going to join by Zoom? All right. So, Sage, do we have the auditors? Because I might just move the auditors up from the fourth slot to the second slot here. But if they're not ready yet, we'll. They are ready? Okay. All right. Then we'll go to the auditors, please. You think they're coming in, Sage?
Yep.
Okay,
Should be it.
okay. No, not that one. I'm sorry for going out of order. I was trying to get the auditors next. Otherwise, we could skip ahead to deer management.
They're in there.
They are in
Yeah,
there?
they've been in there.
Okay, so how do we get them? Oh, there we go. Okay.
Hello.
Hi, how are
Hi,
you?
Jennifer.
Hi, I think Jeff is on too.
Okay, very good. So,
Sure.
yeah, we're going to try and maybe change the views around a little bit. But oh, there we go. That's perfect. Okay, so go ahead, please.
Good, thank you.
Good.
Yep, maybe John, I'll kick it off. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Board of Trustees. My name is Jeff DeVoli. I'm the lead partner for PKF O'Connor Davies, auditing the village of Southampton for the year ended May 31st, 2025. And I have with me my partner, Jennifer Clark, who will do the presentation. So I'll turn it over to Jen.
Hello. So we're here to just go over the results of the May 31st, 25 audit. So first up, we just have a brief agenda of what we're going to go over in tonight's presentation. So the audit status at this point is that we're substantially completed with the audit. The only open items at this point are updated legal confirmations, the signed management representation letter, and final approval from the Board of Trustees. We'll be issuing an unmodified or clean opinion on the financial statements.
We like that. So when does the board have to sign off on this?
Tonight.
Tonight?
Uh,
We're doing it tonight?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Just want to make sure. Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
No problem.
With input from the
So-
audit committee.
Yes, yes, yes.
Finance and audit, budget and finance committee.
Okay.
So just some of our responsibilities as they pertain to the audit. It's our responsibility to form and express an opinion about the financial statements and whether they're fairly presented, to plan and perform our audit in accordance with professional standards, to consider internal control but not to express an opinion on internal control, to accumulate any misstatements we identify and report them to you, to conduct our audit with professional skepticism, and to evaluate the supplemental information as it relates to the financial statements as a whole. And we are also required to communicate certain significant matters to you, the board, anything related to significant risks, all significant deficiencies or material weaknesses we identify, which there were none, any fraud or illegal acts, again, we didn't identify any, the process used by management regarding particularly sensitive accounting estimates, and any other matters of significance.
Thank you.
Here, management's responsibilities include selecting and using appropriate accounting policies, fairly presenting the financial statements, establishing and maintaining effective internal controls, complying with laws, regulations, contracts, and grant agreements, providing financial records, setting the proper tone at the top, and designing and implementing policies to prevent and detect fraud. Those charged with governance, the board is responsible for communicating with the auditors and overseeing the financial reporting process. These are the areas that we identified as significant to the village during the audit. And the other area of focus for us was audit procedures under government auditing standards. A few financial statement highlights on the government-wide statements, which present the financial statements of the village as a whole. Net position increased by about 10.5 million to an overall net deficit of 15.6 million, which is broken up into three primary categories: the net investment in capital assets, restricted net position, and unrestricted net deficit. Moving on to the fund level statements for the individual funds of the village. The only fund that closed out the year with a decrease in fund balance was the Capital Projects Fund, which is very common as that's a multi-year fund, and often there's timing differences between the financing of certain projects and the related expenditures. All of the village's funds ended the year with a positive fund balance. And just to drill down on the general fund, which is the primary operating fund for the village, revenues were over budget by about $4.5 million. Expenditures were under budget by $700,000. The village had a final planned deficit of $2.2 million, which included a planned deficit in the adopted budget, prior year encumbrances that were carried forward, and then supplemental
Sorry,
appropriations.
What was that?
I'm
Jeff?
sorry, and then
No, I apologize. My phone went off. I thought I saw it. I apologize.
Okay.
and there were also supplemental appropriations for transfers to the capital projects fund and the special revenue fund to utilize surplus from prior years. The village ended the year with a positive unassigned fund balance of nearly $16 million, which is 43% of the subsequent year's budget, which is a very healthy fund balance.
Jennifer, sorry, can I just ask a quick question on that last slide?
Sure, of course.
If I'm understanding this correctly, so we had planned to have a deficit of just over $2.2 million, let's call it, but in fact we had about $5.2 million combined increase in revenues and reduction of expenditures versus budget. So does that mean we had a $3 million sort of surplus as opposed to a deficit?
On the prior slide, you can see the general fund had a surplus of $3.3 million.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, you exceeded the planned deficit primarily because of that significant amount of revenues in excess of budgeted amounts.
Thank you.
No problem.
Something we like to see.
Yep. Okay, so a few additional required communications. All of these were included in one of the draft communication letters to you, so I'm not going to go into too much detail here. Our responsibilities for the audit were communicated to you in our engagement letter. There are additional required communications, including regarding accounting policies, significant unusual transactions, which we did not identify any, accounting estimates and management's judgment, financial statement disclosures, any difficulties encountered in performing the audit, which again, we didn't have any, the significant risks that we identified, any disagreements with management, again, none, management's representations, management's consultations with other accountants, any significant issues discussed with management prior to our retention, and any corrected or uncorrected misstatements. So again, all that was in one of the draft communication letters we sent to you, and it's also in the copy of the presentation we sent if you wanted to read to get a little more detail. And then regarding internal control matters, we had 2 internal control findings, which were repeats from the prior year. One regarding resident beach permits not being entered into the tracking system, and one regarding approval of journal entries. In both of these areas, we noted significant improvement from the prior year. And we're also happy to report that a third finding we had in the prior year was removed due to implementation of additional internal controls by management.
Yeah, I was glad we got one removed.
Yep. Okay, and then this is just a copy of the manager representation letter we requested to be signed in case you wanted to see the specifics. I'm just going to click on through. Looking forward, these are the new accounting standards that are going to be going into effect over the next couple of years, which we will assist management in implementation of. And just some restrictions on our presentation and our contact information. So did anyone on the board have any questions on anything we presented?
Sure.
Yeah, you mentioned that something about a presentation that we'd received. I haven't received anything, so is this is news to me the first time.
Julie, you want to say something?
I just got it tonight.
I forwarded a copy of this PowerPoint to Julie shortly before the meeting,
I
so
see.
you'll have it and you can refer back to it if you need.
Okay, thank you. A couple other questions. You made a comment that you consider internal controls, but you don't express an opinion on them. So what does consider mean? What can you just illuminate a little more what you do with respect to internal controls?
Sure, so when we're designing our audit procedures to ensure that your financial statements are fairly stated, we consider what type of internal controls you have in place to help us determine what areas we really need to focus our testing on.
Yep.
But we don't do enough testing on the internal controls to express an opinion on whether or not they're operating effectively.
Okay, thank you. You also made a comment about particularly sensitive matters, and I just wanted to clarify. Is the sensitivity about the fact that certain assumptions can have outsized impact on projections or amounts in reserve or that sort of thing, or is it sensitive in some other way? Do you recall that comment?
I believe the sensitive estimates is just estimates that have the greatest risk of fluctuating if certain factors and inputs were to change.
For example, the OPEB that we talk about is subject to certain assumptions built into the actuary report. Some have, and if you look at the footnotes of the financial statements, you can see the difference between a 1% increase and a 1% decrease in certain of these liabilities, such as OPEB and the New York State pension.
Okay. I assume that, but thanks for clarifying. And then my last question, which may be for the board more than the auditors, and we can discuss, but what happens to this accumulated $15 million surplus that we have? Is that just unrestricted money to be used for general purposes somewhere down the road, a rainy day money?
Yep.
We've been transferring money to the capital fund from it. We're thinking about the third floor here. We've got a sewer coming down the road, so there'll be uses for it. Although, and I'm sure Jeff and Jennifer will tell you that we would like to keep 20% of it for
rainy day.
Yeah.
Sure. Unexpected.
Yeah, right.
But we definitely have more that has accumulated than is really prudent to be maintained. I mean, having almost $16 million is quite a lot of money.
Yeah.
For a village of our size. Yeah.
Would it be a best practice or good practice for us to have sort of an official kind of sort of just shadow allocation of that money in terms of specific projects, general projects, and true rainy day? Or is that something the Budget and Finance Committee does, Len?
Len, do you want to answer that?
I think, we know we have issues coming down the road. We haven't quantified them all, so I think it might be a little premature to start putting numbers for how we would use it. Although I assume the third floor is $3 million, and this would be a good pot of money as opposed to going to the market. So, as we go on, we'll define it and figure it out.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
The important thing is we have money in the rainy day fund, or
Snowy day
pin
fund.
money.
The snowy day fund was
Snowy
called.
day.
Yeah, I mean, we deal with a lot with governments, and this snow is gonna blow budgets because we got it lured into a sense that winter was now ever going to be cold again, and here we are. I think the last time we met with the Budget and Finance Committee was February 11th. I think we've had over 30 inches of snow since that meeting. So it's good to have the level of fund balance you have when you have the planned use of it, and it takes out a lot of uncertainty out of how that money's going to get spent. You don't have to go to the market at times of high interest rates. Not that it's really high now, but it's high compared to the past 10 years.
Sure.
And it is certainly cheaper to utilize the funds that the village has, as opposed to securing additional funds at additional cost outside.
And I see that Ed Moneypenny from our Budget and Finance Committee is on the Zoom as well. Ed, did you have anything you'd like to add or say something?
Yeah, sure. Bill, can you hear me okay?
Yes, perfectly.
Yeah. Well, just to make sure everybody knows, in addition to myself on our committee is Gina Aresta, John Steinhardt, Jim McNaughton, and Glenn Halsey. And, as you know, a week or so ago, we sat with you and several others and with the CPA firm, and they went through all the material that you saw tonight. And I think we really had a good back and forth, lots of good questions, and equally important, really good answers. And as a result of that, which I think is a pretty rigorous process, quite frankly, we recommended unanimously that the trustees approve this report. In addition, in my early going in my career, I was with the CPA firm at PricewaterhouseCoopers. So from the early experience, I know a little bit what these people do. And I really think that this is a quality firm, competent and very client-oriented and independent. And I think the village is well served by these folks. And that's
We
it.
appreciate that. We appreciate that, Mr. MP. And I too started back in the day with PricewaterhouseCoopers and 53rd and Lex back in the day. We may have crossed paths in the hallway at some point.
I don't think so. I was a Philadelphia guy.
Oh, okay,
So
okay.
I was at Market and Broad.
Okay.
Which is not a subway stop, Jeff.
Well, it was a subway stop for me, but
But anyway, I don't want to thank you and again the committee's work on this, and also add, Jeff. Do I understand that this may be your last meeting with the board in the Village of Southampton?
Yes, if we don't get 26 issued by the end of December, then yes, this will be the last time I see you folks. Well, in this capacity. I'm sure I'll see you around town, and I just want to say on the way out here that it's been a pure pleasure and an honor to represent the village, Mr. MP, Mr. Z, Mr. Mayor, Ms. Aresta, everybody on the Budget and Finance Committee is top flight, and it's such a great feeling as a professional to deal with such professional people like that, and I appreciate all the time that you've given us, the interest that you've paid to the work that we do, and I want to thank you all, and Mr. Mayor, thank you, and Board of Trustees.
Thank you very much, Jeff. All right. Any other questions, Julie? Did you have anything you wanted to add as the treasurer? Okay. All right. Well, thank you all very much for your time tonight. We appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bill, could I just add in that, first of all, we should thank Ed. And
Oh, yes. Well, I was trying to say that, yeah.
I know.
To the
But
whole
also
committee.
Julie and her team, I
Oh,
think,
definitely.
are a big part of this and do an awful lot of work. So
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yes. Thank you.
Julie does get a little nervous when you guys are coming in, but
which is
Good
good.
nervousness.
exactly. Anyway, but we're glad it all has turned out very well this year. So thank you very much again.
Thank you. Have a good
Jeff,
night.
and
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Jen.
Bye.
All right.
Good night.
All right. So actually, I think we're going to go to Deer Management if we could while you're still working. Do you mind? Just because I don't think you're going to take too long, are you, Mike?
It's really up to you.
No. I think this will be great. Thank you.
Ready?
Yep.
Any questions? All right. So, good evening. Thank you for having me once again. I'm Mike Tessitore with Suffolk County Deer Management. So over the past 3 seasons, the village's deer management program has produced measurable and data-supported results. At the start of the 3-year period, the program recorded 103 deer harvested, which serves as our operational baseline year. In the second season, harvest rose slightly to 114 deer, which is typically as access improved and the program reaches its full operational capacity. In the most recent season, the harvest declined significantly to 68 deer, representing roughly a 34% reduction from the program baseline. From a wildlife management perspective, this pattern is expected and positive. Initial increases often occur as the program ramps up, followed by declining harvest totals as the local deer population is successful and reduced and fewer animals remain on the landscape. Importantly, the reduction is supported by independent municipal indicators, which I think you're going to find interesting. The Village Highway Department reports that deer carcass removals have declined from a historical average of approximately 45 deer
On the side
per
of the road.
year. Yeah, pickups.
Yeah.
To just 18. So we went from 45 deer past 3 years to 18 this year. Village Police Department reports that a year before our program started, they had 16 motor vehicle accidents, MV-104As. In 2023, there were 12. In 2024, 8. And this year, 6. So that's if you look at insurance and lives and safety, that's a huge success to the program, as well as every motor vehicle accident is roughly $3,400, right? So these independent trends strongly support the conclusion that the local deer population pressure is decreasing and that the management program is improving roadway safety and reducing municipal response burdens. In summary, year one established baseline conditions. That was important. Year two reflected full program implementation. Year three shows measurable population suppression, and municipal safety indicators declining alongside deer numbers. A couple of things that I do want to also point out is there has been 0 second-party bow hunting incidents. I know a lot of times I come to meetings and people, have crystal balls and they say the what ifs. Well, we have 0 since we started this program. Deer-related motor vehicle accidents actually declined 37.5%, and the highway deer carcass removals went down by 40. So this trend is consistent with a transition from an active reduction phase toward a long-term maintenance phase. This was discussed in the community-based deer plan that I wrote for you. In fact, I think I said in that program that we were hoping to be here in 3 years, and we originally had like a 5-year goal, and in 3 years we've met and beat expectations, which I'm happy to report. We will continue monitoring harvest totals, operational effort, and public safety data to ensure the program remains effective, responsible, and aligned with community needs. I think it's important. Other things that we've had tremendous support from the Highway Department, the Police Department, Ms. Sweeney's office as well. She's great. And just, the overall team that you have in this village is just really easy to work with, and everybody helps each other out. We had 0 hunter interactions this year, 0 issues from, people complaining, and those that did complain in the past, they have my cell phone number, so they can call me whenever there is an issue. We did operate on 40 properties this season.
How does that compare to how many you were on the previous years?
38 and 35. So we went on 2, but we also lost a couple because of CPF,
Yeah, right.
restraints as well.
I
Okay.
recall maybe a year or two ago, there were some 1 or 2 local hunters who weren't happy about the program, but that seems to have calmed down.
Yeah, listen, we don't want to, we want to support local hunters from accessing, the field as well. It's an additive to any program, right? And, people get upset and their honey holes start to, get infringed upon, and they feel like they're losing something. So I think, the 4 cornerstones of deer management, the one that I do is deal with hunter management, right? So I'm able to deal with my guys and others, right? So, and I think that's the hardest part of running a program like this, is just being able to play the, differing opinions, right? The politics of hunting, right? You would never think that it was political, but it is. And if you deal with it the right way and you make yourself available, and my phone's on 24/7, you can call me anytime and I'm there. So I'm happy with the results. I think that this is the best program in the country. We have a written, community-based deer management plan where we're, doing all the things in terms of data collection that you want to see, and it's successful. 6.5 square mile village, and we're reducing the deer numbers, and it's, again, does it have its restraints? Sure. Fences, right? Access to properties. Not everybody supports hunting, right? And I think that's the other benefit to how we run this program is, you don't want hunting, you're not going to have hunting, right? But we're not going to tell you you have to have it. Just like we don't expect someone that doesn't want hunting to tell their neighbors they shouldn't have it, right? So we've always, maintained that community-minded public service aspect to the program.
Thank you, Michael.
Any other-
Does anyone have questions for Michael?
I think the data is impressive, and particularly the car accidents. That's impressive data.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, we have all the data in terms of bucks and does. I mean, for this year we took 68 deer, 48 were female. So it's not a trophy hunting opportunity, right? Most people that, want to hunt are in a recreational aspect, right? They have limited time. They want to spend their time shooting deer with antlers on their heads. This is a management program, so I don't do trophy hunting. I don't do recreational hunting. I manage hunters, and, at some time, maybe I will recreational hunt. So I'll probably be in Montana, you know? It's important that we do management-style hunting on Long Island. We need more properties. I think that's important, too, because we do see a migration, right, from south of the highway going north. We're paying attention to that. There are some properties that are sanctuary properties that we've identified. And we're just working hard and working with the community and the residents to get that access.
Just comment that the Planning Commission, there was an update on this in the last Planning Commission meeting, and Michael Anderson has been doing a lot of work with your team and on this
Of
program
course.
and deserves a lot of credit. And for those who, there are politics and there's emotions involved, but he made a couple of points that I just want to put on the record now. One is that, you know, what we do to the deer population here does not prevent deer coming in from the rest of the town, and the town doesn't have a deer management program, as I understand it. So for those concerned that we're going to lose all of our deer, there's a maybe not limitless, but close to limitless supply that can replace them. And we're still, I think, at 60, 70 deer per square mile, something like that, which is a lot larger than a natural state population per square mile, right?
Correct. The indices are, you know, basically, you know, they used to count deer, you know, 20 years ago. They don't do that anymore. The DEC extrapolate deer numbers. They go by visual and reporting and, you know, what you see in terms of that understory and, you know, anything over 30, 35 deer per square mile. If you see that native plant, you know, just being decimated, the ornamentals being decimated, you know that there's 35 deer per square mile. And, you know, of course, the area is not perfect and spread out evenly. There are going to be patches here and there, but we operate with the constraints that you want and safety. That's our number one, you know, goal for this program is to be safe and effective.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate there are fewer car accidents.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
I think it's fabulous.
Anyway, all right, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Michael.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
for being
Thank
here.
you all.
Okay, now, sorry. Last but certainly not least, Nancy. Yeah.
I was already before, but now. I'm just going to hand these out the old school way.
Thank you.
So you can have them.
Here,
It's like we're in
keep
school.
passing it around. Do you want to give one to
Thank
Diane?
you. Well, yeah.
Here, I have an extra.
Oh, here.
Two.
Sorry, I
Keep
didn't.
yours.
There you go.
Hi.
Hi, Nancy.
Thanks for having me tonight. I'm here to talk about the Southampton Village Historical Walking Tours that we would love to launch. And I'll just take you through the deck, which I put a few like old-fashioned postcards up to just set the mood. But the Southampton Village Historical Walking Tours is a self-guided cultural experience designed to bring residents and visitors closer to the rich architectural and civic history of Southampton Village. Through curated walking routes done on a downloadable free app, which you'll see in a minute, the beta version, participants will explore historically significant sites while learning how the village evolved from its earliest days into the vibrant community it is today. So we wanted to launch this in the year of the 250th anniversary of America, and the tours will highlight landmark properties and institutions such as the Rogers Memorial Library, the old one that's now the Peter Marino Foundation, Veterans Hall, Rogers Mansion, the First Presbyterian Church, the old Post House, Village Hall, the old Town Hall, the movie theater, and other historical meaningful locations, even recommending some off the beaten path, such as the Dune Church on Gin Lane. This initiative aims to deepen community and heritage pride in our village, while it supports local economic activity by encouraging visitors to explore the village on foot. So some of the visions and goals are to preserve and share Southampton Village's architectural and cultural history, to create an engaging, accessible educational experience for all ages, enhance year-round foot traffic, support village businesses through increased engagement. And then some of the program features of the app of this initiative is a downloadable free app with self-guiding guided walking tour. So you could be anywhere in the village and start your tour. It doesn't start at point A and go to point B. It starts anywhere you want it to. Information is provided for these historical landmarks by our village historian, Mary Cummings. She's writing up the descriptions, the historical descriptions of the various stops. What you'll see tonight is, again, the beta version, so it doesn't have her copy in there. It's just kind of holdover copy. It's a dedicated mobile-friendly digital tour platform. There's more information links on there, so if a participant is really interested in the Pelletreau Silver Shop and wants to know more information on that, they'll have a link to go to from there. And there's an audio narration part of this and historical photography provided by the Southampton History Museum. We're looking at the audience and reach as year-round Hamptons visitors, local residents, educational organizations, school groups, cultural travelers, and history enthusiasts. To market this, we will promote it through village communications and in local, regional, and travel media. We'll have awareness in hotels, inns, restaurants, cultural institutions, the Chamber of Commerce, and here at Village Hall. Digital marketing and social media promotion, a live launch event, hopefully in the spring, where we may even invite local VIPs to do like an in real life walking tour to kick it off. And then cross promotion with village events and festivals. An example of that would be Southampton Fest, which I hear a complaint that it's only in Agawam Park, but we'll put this into the program this year, and it really hopefully will get people walking through Main Street and Hampton Road and on all aspects of the village. So I'm just going to click over here so you can see on the screen. Open the file. Okay, it was working. Great. Okay, so this is, again, a beta version, so it's not finished completely. But just to give you an idea, so you could hit start exploring. And then, Trustee Simeone, do you want to pick a spot? You got Halsey, Pelletreau, the library, the History Museum.
History Museum.
History Museum, okay. So we go there, and you see that it comes up, and then it has about this location. It'll have the geography of, where you are in relation to other historic sites. And this is just, again, not the final copy that will be in here, but just some placeholder copy. Mm-hmm. And then we'll have some historic photos on the bottom. And our app developer even said we have a great little device which we can do like 3 fun facts. So we can maybe talk about the original Mr. Rogers who built the mansion, or, in this case, the outbuildings and maybe their significance, but just some fun facts there. And then you can go from here. You can listen to the audio. Do you want me to play it?
Sure, just for a
Just so
second.
you can kind of get an idea.
Step back in time at the Southampton History Museum, a must-stop on any walking tour of the village. Housed in historic buildings just steps from Main Street, the museum brings Southampton's past to life through exhibits on early settlers, whaling days, and notable local figures. It's the perfect place to pause, explore, and gain context before continuing your walk, offering a deeper appreciation of the stories, architecture, and traditions that shape Southampton into the village you're strolling through today. Step back in time at the Southampton History Museum.
We got it.
Okay. Okay. It will be slightly different than that, and a different voice. But that was
That's
just
that
was the AI
voice,
app. Yeah, the app voice that was put on there. But yeah, and then you could click on to like the World War I Memorial in Agawam Park, and you could, again, kind of, it's self-guided, so you can go from point A to point B. There is such a thing as Google Maps to tell you where things are, but they don't tell you what things are. And this is a preservation of our history, a legacy for, enjoyment today and for future generations to really know where Southampton came from and how it got here. And that's it.
I understand that if you just go out and you walk around and you turn it on, it will know where you are and will start talking from that point?
No, you'd have to click on.
You have to tell where you are. Okay.
You would download the app and then you would say, I'm at the World War I Memorial. what's happening. And then it would geographically tell you, though, that the Playhouse, the Cultural Center, all the other places are.
How you could go from
How
one to the
you could
other.
get from one to the other, yeah.
navigate.
But you could start this route at any point.
I think it's wonderful. Have you included Stevenson's Toy Store? No, we're not doing that. I'm
We
sorry.
we actually have included 3 businesses. I mean, this is all still for your approval, but because Hildreth's, because it's the oldest department store in America, Corwin's, because it's historically significant to this village, and what would be the third?
I don't know.
Herrick Hardware.
Oh, Herrick Hardware.
Yeah, because of their longevity.
1850.
Yeah. So they're included in the stops. But the idea, of course, is, you get people walking and interested, and then, they decide to have lunch in town. They decide to go into Hildreth's, and they end up buying bedding, and things like that. So, or into the toy store and buy toys.
I'm sure that Rob agrees with me that we'd love to incorporate this as a link in our Southampton Village Guide app that the Village Business Committee is working on creating. So, yeah, it's very good.
Yay.
Very nice.
Yeah, I think it's
Anybody have any
Ed,
questions?
Ed, do you have any questions?
How does it get distributed? It is, how do people know about it?
Well, that would be the marketing portion, but so we'll promote it on the village website, hopefully the Southampton Village Partnership's website. We can
I
work
mean,
in
the Chamber of
partnership.
Commerce should have.
The chamber for sure. At Village Hall, we'll post it on Instagram, similar to the senior survey. We'll keep posting it. We'll have a launch event that will spread the word, and then there'll be media outreach, which I think the New York papers and travel magazines and things like that will be very interested in.
Might we have, maybe a QR code on a specific site, like the Peter Marino, former Rogers Memorial Library, and that if someone's walking, they could click on their phone, and then it would take you to the app
Yes.
and then tell you.
Yes.
That would be great.
That there is a function for
Yeah,
that
yeah,
on
yeah.
there. So a good PR launch around this.
Which does bring up an issue that may overlap for the committee that Roy and I are liaisons to, the Village Improvement, or Southampton Village Partnership Committee, having to do with signage and the possible need or desirability of a signage program, sort of professionally driven graphics to simplify some of the existing signage, unify and get QR codes onto
Yeah.
some of them. So that
Maybe
whether it's-
standardize it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Something to be discussed down the road.
Yeah.
So this is an app owned by the village
Right.
that we distribute for free. Okay.
Yeah, and in perpetuity, as long
And
as,
it's for residents, visitors, anybody.
yes, it's a free downloadable app.
Okay.
And later on, you're going to see that the expense to bring this to fruition, I think, was just under $8,000, which actually I thought was pretty good for what this is going to be able to do. I think most apps cost.
Amy Frazier, who is one of the members of the Southampton Village Partnership, put us in touch with a local app developer who owns Thorn Creative. And because she is a local and has a vested interest in history herself, she gave us like the rock bottom number to do this. And we would own it, and we'd own it in perpetuity.
Yeah.
So as a newcomer, it may be naive, but how did this project sort of get started? Was there a
It was
resolution
actually
or-
part of the comprehensive master plan to create a historic walking tour.
Okay.
And then I found that out and started developing it. We thought it was a great year, a historic year to launch it. And we've gotten it off the ground, and we are confident that we can launch it in the spring. And we would invite a trustee to do the actual physical walking tour and kind of do it as a community event, to come on these tours and then show people how to download it. But most people know how to download an app these days.
Yeah. And there would be like an overall map somewhere too.
Yeah.
I think we got to have an overall map showing all the different sites.
Yeah, we could have that in Village Hall and at the Chamber of Commerce
No, and
and,
also on the app.
oh, yeah, yeah.
There should be, so, we haven't gone through the whole app. But
Right.
there should be, no, but see, that's just for that location.
That's the
I would like
location.
to see one that shows the whole village and then has little dots where the different sites are.
Yeah, there is that, and I could send that to the board.
Okay.
I could just get that from Dina. This was just what we have so far. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She had 5 sites that she could show as a,
Right. And how many do you think
example.
we're trying to get?
Oh, we'll have like 15 or 18.
Yeah.
I mean, if Mary Cummings has her way, there's
Oh,
a
yeah,
lot of
yeah.
historic, according to her. So we might have to edit it down a little bit.
Okay. No, I think it really looks nice so far. And if we can get it launched by late spring for the summer, I think that would be excellent.
There's one more, Rogers. Oh, she has the new library, so this is.
But you can have the new one, but I think you also want to have the Peter Marino Foundation and say
Yeah.
that was the old library.
Yep, and yes, so we would.
Historically, yeah. Okay. Well,
Any
anyone
other
other have
questions?
questions for Nancy?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm not supposed to talk to you guys, but I ask a brief question?
Okay, quickly.
I'm not allowed to answer.
Come to the mic, if you would, please, Mike. Sorry.
Mic to the mic.
The thrust, for example, of the senior survey that was just circulated around was trying to think about things that might bring the community together more. I was just wondering if any consideration has been given to doing the occasional docent-led tour, so that not just for people on their own, but you could get
Yeah.
groups of residents.
Well, I think actually the History Museum sometimes sponsors walks. They do architectural walks and.
I've done them.
Yeah, you've done them.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
I mean, obviously we have to publicize them more. Yeah. But thank you very
They
much.
they're not doing as many, but
Yeah.
Because this would be great for one.
Based
Oh, yeah.
on this, sure. I mean, we could
Yep.
initiate like one every season, or a couple in the summer. When
Yeah,
it's
you have to
I'm
sit
sorry.
back down. Yeah.
I actually do have a question. For people with accessibility issues, will that be built into this as well? I mean, it's something to consider.
It is.
Yeah,
It is something to
Yeah.
consider.
you know.
But I think most of those locations are accessible.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about people who may be blind or whatever. you
Oh,
know,
yeah,
To, to
Yeah.
be able to use the app.
You'd have audio.
Yeah.
I'll talk to Dina about that. That's a
Yeah.
very important question
Thank
to
you.
make it accessible for
Thank you.
everyone.
All right. Thank you, Nancy, very much.
Thank you.
Okay. And with that, we will go to some village updates. I know, Rob, you wanted to talk about accessory apartments and the BEST system.
Yeah, mostly on accessory apartments. And Nick was part of this. I'm glad you're appointed now, Nick. But at the Planning Commission last week, we began a discussion on possible modifications to accessory apartment law in the village to try to get some uptake, since we've had none so far. The next step here is that for those who are interested, there were 2 or 3 people at the meeting. There are some members of the Planning Commission who are interested in this. If there are other members of the public who have an interest either in the general topic of accessory apartments for family or workforce housing purposes, or who have a specific condition, we had someone at the Planning Commission who has a desire to do something on their own property. If anyone has an interest in this, please reach out to me, to members of the Planning Commission. We're going to try to organize just a Zoom call working session in the next couple weeks. So please, contact anyone here at Village Hall and ask them to be put in touch with me. We'd love to just have a nice, hour-long Zoom working session on this topic to consider other options and enhancements to our accessory apartment code. And then just on battery storage, I'll just give a quick update. I think people know from the presentation from Christian Pico, we're trying to get to a point where we essentially adopt the town code on this. It's not a simple process. It's it's microsurgery across a whole body to pull their code out and put it into ours. We had thought about possibly putting a placeholder in for residential or even a moratorium on installations in a residential district. I think our view now is that we're going to try to do a quick and dirty version of the town. It's going to take another month or so. I'm going to spearhead it and work with Eileen and Alex on it. So no action to take, just that it is still under consideration, and that's the route we're taking, is to wait until we can do a full implementation of the town, and I'm going to try to help short-circuit that, no pun intended, but condense and short-circuit some of that work.
If I could ask a question.
Yeah.
The key to the larger units would be setbacks.
The key, it's a number of things, including setbacks, and if we adopt the town code, it's setbacks, and it's also just property size for other reasons. So yeah, that is the big key. We're not at significant risk really in any of our zones for different reasons, but we literally have no code that sort of directly addresses it in the residential districts, actually anywhere. Yep, that's it. Those are the updates.
Okay. I would just add that we have to also make sure there's adequate parking, though, because I wouldn't want this to all of a sudden compel everyone to have to park out on the street.
For accessory apartments.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah, absolutely. No, they would have to comply with all other elements of our code.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And now, Ed, you want to talk about the senior survey?
Yes,
and
thank you.
maybe a little bit more about what you're working on with the committee.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Manger. I want to provide a brief update on the work of the Village Southampton Senior Services Committee and to remind our residents age 65 and over about the senior needs and priority survey that is currently underway. As many of you know, nearly 1/3 of Southampton Village residents are now 65 years old or older. The purpose of the committee is simple: to better understand how older residents experience daily life in our village and to identify practical ways we can support aging in place while maintaining independence and quality of life. This effort is about planning ahead responsibly, not creating programs before understanding community needs. The senior services survey is confidential, voluntary, designed to give the village its first clear, evidence-based snapshot of senior priorities. It asks about community engagement, transportation, communication and awareness of services, aging safely at home, emergency preparedness. Issues are very important with seniors that get, like in a snowstorm, they don't have access how to get out, and we need to know who they are. And future interests for village consideration. The survey is simply about listening, understanding what is working well today, and how the village can plan thoughtfully for the future. The survey has been widely distributed through digital media, email outreach, the village crier, and last week there was an ad in the Southampton press that people could click on a QR code. So tonight I want to personally encourage all village residents 65 and over to participate in the survey. The survey takes about 10 minutes. It's completely confidential, and your input will directly help guide future planning and decision making. I would also like to acknowledge Mrs. Tony Maloney, who has generously contributed her professional expertise in marketing and survey development. Her guidance has been instrumental in helping the committee design a thoughtful and well-structured survey, and we are very fortunate to have benefited from her participation. We look forward to reporting back to the board later this spring with the results and recommendations based on what our residents tell us. Very important, the final date for the survey, for you for taking the survey, will be the 28th of this month. So we have a few days left, and I hope we get a good response. Good government begins by listening, and tonight we're asking our seniors to be heard. Thank you.
Okay, Ed, I just would ask, would you like to extend the survey a little longer?
Right now, we're going to keep it to the 28th of this month.
Okay.
See what the results are.
Okay.
And if we feel that we need further input, then we will do another, let's say, another batch of survey requests, or maybe we can do a mail as well.
Okay. And I see Julie here. So, and then the committee's going to then work on what you might need additional funds for and what projects you would spend it on.
Yes. That is, I'm going to come back to you.
Yeah.
I would like to have at least an amount authorized, set aside, so that we can think big. We can know what we can do and what we cannot do. But of course, we do not know how we're going to expend any funds until we get these survey results back and we understand what the needs are and what other things that the board feels that we can do as a village for our residents.
Okay.
How many responses have you had so far?
Right now, I believe as of yesterday, there were 82 responses.
Wow.
Oh, that's good.
Well, we're trying to get at least a couple hundred.
I think
So-
82 sounds pretty good, though.
So it's not bad.
And what's the total population over 65?
It's about 700.
700 people.
Wow. Okay, thank you, Ed. Any other questions for Ed? All right, so
Great.
Kathy, do you want to do correspondence to the board, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have two correspondences for the board. The first one is for the Lake Agawam Conservancy, and they're just recognizing that they strongly support the acquisition of 135 Windmill Lane to install a wastewater treatment system for the business district. The second one that we have is from Sean Deary, and that was sent to the board on February 13th. And the recommendation from Mr. Deary is to respectfully ask if the board might consider a formal restructuring or rezoning of the medical district to better serve the community's evolving needs. And then that is all for tonight.
Okay.
On that second letter, I mean,
Yeah.
is that something that would go to the planning board to consider possible?
Well,
Changes to
probably the
zoning?
planning commission first.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's no formal application in, so it would just be something for them to study and look at.
Yeah, okay.
All right, now we'll go to suggested resolutions. Leonard, take it away.
Okay, number one, resolve the claims for the warrant dated February 24th, 2026 totaling $127,210.34. Warrant number A17 General, $24,582.41. Warrant number H10 Capital, and $2,258.20. Warrant number T18 Trust are audited and approved. I'll make that motion.
Second, all in favor?
Aye. Number two, resolve the reading of the minutes for the February 12th, 2026 Board of Trustees meeting is dispensed, accepted as filed by the village clerk, hereby ratified and approved. I'll make that motion.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Be it hereby resolved that the village board hereby directs that a public hearing shall be held as a hybrid in-person Zoom meeting on March 12th, 2026 at 6 p.m. at the village meeting room at the Southampton Village Hall located at 23 Main Street, Southampton, New York, 11968, to hear any and all persons either for or against a proposed local law entitled a local law for the fiscal year commencing June 1st, 2026, authorizing a tax levy in excess of the limit established by General Municipal Law 3-C, and be it resolved that the village clerk is hereby authorized and directed to publish and post a notice of public hearing regarding same. This local law is required if the village is in a position when they do the budget of having to pierce the cap. We do it every year. We probably should be doing this in February. We're going to do it in March, but next year, hopefully in February. That's good practice.
Yeah, we have to do this every year.
Correct. So it doesn't mean we're going to pierce the tax cap. It just gives us the authority to do it. It's required by state law if we need to do it. So.
Okay. So I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Eduardo.
Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Southampton has determined that this proposed local law is considered a Type 2 action under 6 NYCRR Part 617.5, provisions of the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, SEQRA, and that no further review under New York Environmental Conservation Law, Article 8 is necessary, now therefore be it hereby resolved. The village board hereby directs that a public hearing shall be held as a hybrid in-person Zoom meeting on March 12, 2026 at 6 p.m. at the village meeting room at the Southampton Village Hall located at 23 Main Street, Southampton, New York, 11968, to hear any and all persons either for or against a proposed local law entitled a local law amending Chapter 99, Taxation, to amend the income levels required for eligibility for the senior citizen tax exemption, and be it further resolved that the village clerk is hereby authorized and directed to publish and post the following notice of public hearing. Please take notice that a public hearing shall be held as a hybrid in-person Zoom meeting on March 12, 2026 at 6 p.m. at the village meeting room at Southampton Village Hall located at 23 Main Street, Southampton, New York, 11968, to hear any and all persons either for or against a proposed law entitled a local law amending Chapter 99 Taxation to amend the income levels required for eligibility for the senior citizen tax exemption. Copies of the proposed law sponsored by Mayor William Manger Jr. are on file in the village clerk's office Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. I make a motion.
I will second. Discussion. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is again, I'd have to Eileen to explain, but this is what the state authorizes villages to be able to do to provide some tax relief to our seniors. And so what happened since the village last did this is the state has allowed the income levels to increase. For example, 28,000 up to 50,000 in the first category, and you get a 50% tax exemption. So this just resets the schedule that is dictated by the state of New York. And you can see the authority under Section 2 is New York State Village Law 7-700, where it discusses this.
So it's real property actions and proceedings law, is that?
It says Real Property Tax Law 467.
Yeah, that's the section that authorizes it, state law.
So anyway, that's what this was doing here, and this came to our attention thanks to Mr. Simeone that we had not upped this in a while, and so we're trying to update this as the state allows us to do.
And I wanted to thank Mayor Manger for moving expeditiously from the suggestion that we received from Jay Fitzpatrick to the Senior Services Committee and from the committee to you. Just one thing, we were hoping to actually simplify the way that senior residents could be able to take advantage of this tax exemption. Instead of doing it by income, do it another way. We're thinking about assessments, and I would like to have an opportunity to speak further with Eileen to see if there's any other way that we can work the law to make it work that way, if the board approves and if it facilitates for seniors to be able to get access. Because if it's done on the assessed value, it would be automatic, as long as we know who the seniors are and what the ages are.
Yeah, the state law is never going to allow us to do anything like that that's
Right.
not based on the homeowner's income. We can't have the working class people in the village subsidizing billionaires regardless of their how much they're paying. I mean, it has to be based on income. That's what New York state law is. They're not going to allow that. I look at it for you when it comes in, but I mean, the original suggestion that we just base it on age is absolutely out.
No, of course.
But I also think the assessment's not going to matter. What matters, the reason to give somebody an exemption is if they're living on a fixed income. That's the exception the state has made, and an extremely limited fixed income.
Right.
Then they'll allow you to give them a little bit of a tax break. Otherwise, property taxes are based on fair market value of the property. And there's really no way around that, so, in New York State, so.
But there will be people in the village that will be able to take advantage of this.
Yeah, I don't think the increase is gonna make that big a difference in this
No.
village, but yes, for sure.
Yeah.
There are people, you would have to ask the tax receiver, but I believe.
No, I
there's
did actually speak to Danielle. Danielle said there are
a couple of dozen people
on the rolls for
that
this.
can take
yes.
advantage of the senior citizen exemption, so. So
Okay.
we'll look at whatever you send us, but.
So we have a motion, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, good.
Item number 5, resolve the Board of Trustees approves the Peconic Baykeepers Organization to host a marsh cleanup along Meadow Lane with base operations at Dune Beach along the Bayside on Saturday, April 18th, 2026 from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. I will make the motion.
I will second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Whereas the Village Board of Trustees has determined that the development of a digital walking tour application would enhance knowledge of the village, promote local history, and provide an accessible resource for residents and visitors. And whereas the board has received a proposal from Tom Creative Marketing to design and develop said walking tour application, now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Trustees hereby approves the proposal from Tom Creative Marketing for the development of the walking tour application at a cost not to exceed $7,840, with payment to be made from trustee special project account A.1010.443. So I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Leonard.
7, whereas the independent audit of the village's financial statements for the fiscal year ended May 31st, 2025 has been completed, now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Trustees hereby accepts and approves the audited financial statements for the fiscal year ending May 31st, 2025 as presented by PKF O'Connor Davies LLP Auditor Services. Before I make the motion, I just want to not only thank the auditors, but I want to thank Julie and the Treasury staff who worked very hard to get this together, and with terrific results of strong financial management. I will make that motion.
I'll second.
Just quick discussion. This is where, I mean, I'd love to actually see this report and live with it.
The audit?
You know, we're being asked to approve.
Yeah.
We flipped through a lot of things quickly
Yeah,
on the
you
screen.
sent, all of the trustees got an email with the attachments.
When?
A week ago?
That was the same report that was given. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I have gone through that if nothing's changed substantially from that. Okay.
No.
Thank you
It
very
really
much.
is
Yeah,
mostly
no.
what the draft is, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's fine.
So I made the
I
motion.
think they sent the one that said final today, but it basically was the draft that just then they said final on it.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification.
I made the motion.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Resolved, the Board of Trustees approves the Rotary Club of Southampton to hold its 35th annual Firecracker 8K Walk Run on Sunday, July 5th, 2026, from 7:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. with the start and finish at Agawam Park. I make the motion.
Want a second?
I'll
The
I'll
Rotary.
second. Go ahead.
He's
Ed
Rotarian.
seconds. Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? All right, so we'll go to comments from board. Oh, we have a, sorry, I apologize. Yep. I would like to make a motion for a walk-on resolution proposed by trustee Coburn. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is, just for context, this is with respect to plans for the Juneteenth celebration. Let me read the resolution. Whereas Southampton Village has provided financial assistance in the amount of $1,000 to support Juneteenth celebrations in previous years, and whereas in recognition of the 250th anniversary celebrations for the nation, the organizers of this year's Juneteenth celebration wish to enhance this year's event similar to enhancements planned by the organizers of the July 4th parade. And whereas one of the additions the Juneteenth organizers wish to make is more musical artists on top of those returning artists whose appearances are already underwritten by private citizens and businesses in the village. And whereas Ashley Keiko, an up-and-coming saxophonist and songwriter, is particularly desired by the event organizers and has proposed a fee of $2,870 to perform at the Southampton Juneteenth celebration on June 20th, 2026. Now therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Trustees hereby approves a budget amendment to increase the Minority Affairs Committee account A.7450.474 by $1,870. I'll just add, there's already been $1,000 budgeted as in past years. So those two combined would be $2,870. And to decrease the trustee special projects account A.1010.443 by $1,870, thereby increasing the village's financial support for this year's expanded Juneteenth celebration from $1,000 to $2,870 in order to fully underwrite the appearance and performance by Ashley Keiko. I'll make the motion.
I will second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, now we get to go to comments from board members. So we'll start with trustee Coburn.
Sure.
Thanks, Julie.
I'll be brief and probably join other people. We need to thank again our amazing highway crew and first responders for getting us through a truly historic blizzard. I'm not going to comment more than that because somehow I feel like giving them praise somehow is encouraging Mother Nature to bring more of these events upon us. So, but thank you to all the many people who worked in really brutal conditions. I'm just going to say I stepped out at about 2:30 in the morning to do my first snowblow pass before I couldn't get my snowblower out of the garage. And in the 15 to 20 minutes I was at the end of my driveway, 4 plows went up and down Hill Street during that time, and the conditions were brutal. So thank you to them. I wanted to give a quick update on SAC, the Southampton Arts Center. I'm a liaison to that group, and for those who don't know, many of you do, but they are ready to go on a major project of renovating and upgrading the arboretum and park essentially around their building. They're just waiting for the weather, as we all are, but it's going to be very exciting and a huge enhancement to the village. So wanted to thank them for their initiative on that project that is entirely funded through private donations. Just wanted to shout out also that the SAC has increased and enhanced their focus on youth and student artists and programs and encouraging engagement with and practice of visual arts. And So, and there's currently an excellent exhibit there now called First Light. If you haven't seen it, I encourage everyone to go. And it is celebrating the art of student artists. And lastly, with respect to SAC, they have received actually their certification now. I don't know if they have the actual certificate, but they've been informed that they've been approved as an accredited museum by the state of New York. And that's a big feather in their cap and a feather in the cap of our village to just continue enhancing that institution and our overall cultural institutions. On a related note, I'll just say thank you, Mr. Mayor, for including me in some of the conversations on the Village Hall renovations. I think they were postponed from a planned return to the ARB this past Monday because of the storm, but the work is proceeding on that, and the reason I connected with SAC is that the team doing the landscaping at SAC has agreed to just help with some suggestions regarding plantings at the back of this building with respect to the new project here, so that it's compatible and contiguous with the upgraded arboretum that's coming along. And lastly, I'll just say, with respect to our hearing at our last meeting on term possible changes to terms for elected officials, I've received a lot of commentary from people, both in support and not necessarily in support, but on this idea that we should, at some point, maybe soon, if the referendum passes, to talk about term limits. The most consistent feedback that I get. I just wanted to share that with this group, and but not something I think we need to amend in the current proposal, but something to be considered should that referendum pass. And it's just a reminder to village residents that the board agreed to hold the file on that proposal open until the March 12th meeting for written comments. So anyone who has not yet written or commented and wishes to, please send correspondence to the board or to any board member or to the village clerk. And with that, I will say goodnight. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Trustee Coburn. We'll go to Trustee Simeoni.
Yeah, again, I'll be very brief. I just like to thank the committee that we have at the Senior Service Committee. They've been really incredibly dedicated with a lot of good ideas, and I think that we'll see from the results from the survey how these will pan out. That's it. That's all I need to say right now.
Thank you, Trustee Simeoni. We'll go to Trustee Stevenson.
Be right with you, just trying to get one bit of information. Okay. I spent my summers as a boy growing up here in Southampton, my winters in Buffalo, New York, and saw some pretty good snowstorms up in Buffalo. And I have to say, it takes a little bit of snow to impress me, and the snow blizzard we got here did the trick. 30 inches in 10 hours was a serious blizzard, so hats off, as everybody has said, to our wonderful DPW. Also to our fire department, which answered a call in the middle of the blizzard over in Bridgehampton as a mutual aid assist. And I can't imagine how difficult that must have been, driving their vehicles over there in the storm, getting their hoses out and doing all the work they did to put out a fairly big house fire in Bridgehampton during the middle of the storm. So as always, hats off to them. Fortunately, in a few months, it will be summer, and with that comes the USGA golf tournament at Shinnecock, which I've spoken about before, and with it the additional people who will be coming to visit our beautiful village and go to that golf course to see the tournament. The mayor and I met with the USGA, with the Shinnecock Hills Golf Club, and the person who the USGA and Shinnecock has hired to sort of act as the liaison between those organizations in terms of addressing issues that the village might have and assisting the village to deal with the inconveniences that the tournament might cause. And I can report that there was some positive results from that. Of course, our police department and the town police department will be working diligently to streamline traffic as much as possible. One of the major interest points that we talked about was getting the Long Island Railroad to increase the frequency of their service during the tournament so that people could coming from the west and east would be able to use the trains there is going to be a training platform reestablished at the old Southampton College site, which is directly across from the tournament site, but also having trains come into our village. We pointed out that the current training schedule is not amenable to helping employees in the village get to their jobs and go home at night, because it only runs a few times each day and not at the hours that people might necessarily want to come for a typical workday. And the officials assured us that they would be lobbying the LIR very vociferously to increase the frequency of the service. So I think that's a really positive move, and encourage anybody listening to me who wants to see this happen to reach out to the local USGA office, which is on North Sea Road. Unfortunately, I don't have a phone number for it. I was looking for it on my phone, but I'm sure it's findable. And just add your voice to those saying that we love having the tournament, but we also like being able to have our employees and the village employees get to work and come and go home each night without being stuck in the traffic, which already is problematic during June, and with the addition of the tournament will be a little bit more difficult. With the tournament, with Juneteenth, with the election, all scheduled for the same week. We spoke at the last meeting, Eileen, about maybe adjusting the date of the election. Were you able to look into that? Or was
I did, and there's no way to do it.
There's no way to do it.
Yeah, it would require a
referendum,
an act of the state legislature, and potentially a referendum. I did speak, I did the research, couldn't believe that was the answer, and then spoke to officials up at NICOM who provide support for villages, and they said there's just no way to do it. They talked it over up there. So
thank you for checking.
Yeah, we could do it going forward, but
we could do it in the future, but not for this year.
We would have to do it way in advance, because we would need a special act of the legislature to do it. It's just not practical at this point.
U.S. Open isn't coming back for 10 years after.
But I mean, 10 years goes fast. Brian.
Start working on it.
Just, Roy and I were speaking about this earlier. I have heard from at least 3 residents who tell me they're not going to be here that weekend. They're going to come when the summer gets nicer and just avoid the crowds. Well, as the election gets closer, we should just remind people, if that's the case, if they're renting their house or they just choose to stay away, that there are options for absentee balloting and voting early to make sure that we're not losing voters as a result of that.
Thank you, Trustee Stevenson. Okay, Trustee Zananti.
Thank you, Mayor. I too, not to beat a dead horse, but I offer heartfelt thanks to Steve Phillips, Mark Maddock, and the people who work at DPW. Really an incredible effort and an incredible challenge, and they were up to it, which was amazing. The cell site construction has begun behind the Windmill Lane Firehouse, so that's exciting. I'm sure they've suffered a major setback this week, but at least it began. Being with my colleague, Trustee Coburn, we are members of the Sewer Committee Clean Water Task Force, and I think everybody felt pretty good about, we had a meeting today, I think everybody on the committee felt pretty happy about the way the issue was presented on February 12th at the Cultural Center, and the committee itself is anxious for next steps to occur, which really involves the town now agreeing to purchase the land and making the offer. So that hopefully is being teed up by the people in the town. And lastly, and less importantly, I have been a stickler about our website, which I don't like, and I have not liked it for years. And finally, we're moving off the dime, and we're actually designing a new website for the village, which will be modern, more interactive, and perhaps more informative than this one is, easier to get around. And that is being led by the clerk's office and the new deputy clerk, Ms. Francesca, who is doing a terrific job spearheading it along with Kathy Sweeney. So with that, I want to say thank you and good night.
Thank you, Trustee Zananti. So again, I do have to just mention that the snow was quite unbelievable. And aside from DPW staff, I think we had literally 38 people out in the middle of the night trying to clear the snow as best they could. We brought in contractors, South Fork Septic, as well as South Fork Asphalt. Both came in to help cart the snow away. There were periods where we had to close Job's Lane and Main Street to take the huge amounts of snow off of the street. I think they did an amazing job. I did stop in at the firehouse because the fire department was on standby at the Hampton Road Firehouse. They were cooking burgers for everybody, and they were I think 14 people that spent the night there in case they got called, and they did get called to Bridgehampton. Also, it was a place where DPW guys could stop in to get a cup of coffee, something to eat. I saw one of our police officers there, and we did bring on additional police officers, so overtime was extended for additional police to be on the scene that night to try and prevent any problems that, and also to let us know when there were areas of icy road surface. They're very good about calling Steve whenever they find a patch of ice, and he's been very responsive to that. And then the ambulance guys were also living over. 12 of them stayed over at the ambulance barn in case there was an emergency and the ambulance had to get called out. They would be able to be right at the ambulance and get to whoever needed it and get them to the hospital. Once again, the hospital roads were prioritized by DPW to ensure access to the hospital in case that arose. I don't think we had too many calls that night, and I do want to thank the public for not parking on the street. I know Trustee Coburn helped with that as well, but I was very impressed how many people did get their cars off the street so that the plows could really do their job, because it doesn't work when you have to have the plow go around a car that's parked on the side of the road. So honestly, I appreciate everyone for adhering to that request, and I think the village did as well as we could have given the circumstances. I just want to say that on March 4th, we will be going to speak to the town board about the purchase of 1950 Meadow Lane. That got postponed, actually because of the snow and then the supervisor's schedule. But we will be going on March 4th to talk to the town about their plans for 1950 Meadow Lane. I know a lot of village residents are concerned what that's going to mean, so we are going to go and speak to them directly about that. And then on March 5th, I was able to get my old department at the federal government, the Small Business Administration, to come out to Southampton and provide an Access to Capital 101 session here in Village Hall on March 5th at lunchtime. So if people have some time during lunch and they'd like to know how they can access capital to either start a small business or grow their small business, we've got a lot of businesses here. This is obviously a free service that the federal government provides. I think there are 2 or 3 people that are coming out from the New York office to just, again, give free advice to anyone wishing to start or grow a small business in Southampton. So it gives you great insight into how to approach lending institutions and what you need to do in terms of putting a business plan together, how many years of records that they're going to want to see. So it's really a 101 class, but they did it years ago at the library, the Rogers Memorial Library, and actually when I was working at the SBA, I came to that session, but this one is going to be handled by the current regional administrator for the Small Business Administration and his staff, and they're going to do it, I believe, in this room on March 5th at noon. And with that, I think we've gone through everything, so I will make a motion, Sage, to close this meeting of the Village Board of Trustees. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.